My name is Luz Miranda, and I would like to give you a brief introduction of what exactly is a postgraduate program in capital markets. In order to understand the postgraduate program in capital markets, I'll be dividing the section into three parts. Point number one, I'll be telling you about the industrial landscape of where financial markets are right now and what it can be in the near future. What are the careers that you can look forward to or which you can choose from? What will be the rationale or the skill sets you will need to learn? Why do you need to be a holistic, skill-based student? Why you should not support, just focus on just one part of the capital markets or in the industry? Why you need to know everything? How is India progressing maybe in the international markets, and why do you think this program is extremely important? The program overview, how many hours this program coverage in depth, and these are the last few minutes. I'll go ahead with the question and answer section. Moving ahead, if you can see my screen, this is all about the postgraduate program in capital markets, the program overview. Okay, what was the coverage, the overview and admissions? I'll just skip on to the next page. Let's start with the industry landscape. Why do we enter into finance? How important it is? Where do we see ourselves in the next 5 years or 10 years or 15 years? Do we see ourselves at an international level or national level? How will this program help me? Looking at the global banking sector, the investment banks and financial services firm continue to outsource most of the operations department, specifically to India. Okay, the market has been doubling from the year 2003-2004, and that's an absolute time or the exact time when I kind of joined the industry, and we can see it doubling in number. The number of job opportunities coming to India is extremely high, for a simple reason. In the year 2002 and 2003, we did have an X number of MBAs, X number of PGs. We have people with MCOM certification. We have CAs. We do not have much of CFAs in the market. Today, as people graduate, as I see my students graduating, the one thing very noticeable about them is they are extremely aggressive in how they need to reach a particular goal in life. They have their timeline set in mind. They would try to do anything to reach those timelines. They are willing to go ahead for a PG program than a traditional MBA because they are more focused on building their skills and how to get their dream job and how to go ahead with their career. So they know exactly what to do. For the ones who are a little confused or would like to, explore before entering into a dream job or dream field, you do have an organization where you can just work into it. You can understand the financial sector from the practical side and then choose your career point of view, and also programs which will help you with your further studies. Looking at India, the education mass is increasing on a daily basis. A lot of our students are going towards hardcore financial programs, because of which companies from international markets feel that maybe as a country we could do a better job with better job opportunities, much more versatile job opportunities, much more difficult. And not only that, India as a country and the banking sector in India has doubled and tripled fold. We can look at the index, which has actually doubled. We can look at the price of gold, which has actually doubled. We can look at capital markets, which has doubled. We can look at FDI and FII investments, which are huge. Taking the example of an Aditya Birla Frontline Mutual Funds, it has 20,000 crores in its AUM. It has given an absolute 20 to 30% turnover CAGR, which means the capital market sector is increasing. And we can also see a lot of Indian companies and Indian banks today listed on the NASDAQ or listed in a Taipei Stock Exchange or a Singapore Stock Exchange. This shows that as a country, our banking sector is also flourishing. Maybe the markets are looking a little bad today, but in the near future, we have a very promising capital market. People in the year 2002 or 2003 did not understand non-traditional methods of banking. They just knew savings and FDs and gold. Whereas today, we see a lot of our youth specifically investing in more risk appetite investments like capital market investments, let's say mutual funds, maybe alternate investment schemes, a lot of post office schemes, and also a lot of youth today, a lot of a young generation is entering into the world of NBFCs. It could be an I2I, it could be Lane. So they are investing in non-traditional methods. The risk appetite is better than before. The knowledge which people have today about markets is better than before. we are willing to take on that risk. And because of that, a lot of organizations are willing to explore themselves in India for better product offerings than what it was many years ago as per the traditional banking sector. Looking at the numbers, our market size, according to USD billion, has increased from 1.3 to a whooping 2.8 today, if I refer to the slide, and it is actually going to increase to a 3.4, and I believe it will be higher. Looking at the industry landscape, an index of Nifty has closed at 11,000 odd points, whereas BSE Sensex, which is one of the oldest stock exchanges, is closed around 28,000 points. NEC itself has around more than 25 indices, okay, the financial services index or the pharma index, which also means the number of job opportunities in these sectors are increasing. But if you see Nifty Financial Services, HDFC itself has around 30 to 35% towards investment in the Nifty Bank or Nifty Financial Services. It shows how our banking sector is blooming. If our banking sector is blooming, we need technology. We need a lot of support functions to ensure this happens, which also means the education sector. If the sector grows, the education sector has to support it to reach its primary objective. And this is where PG capital markets comes into picture, whether it's going to be for Indian markets or whether domestic markets or whether it's going to be for international markets. Realistically speaking, we have around 2 to 4% of Indians investing in mutual funds, which I believe is increasing day on day basis. If you look at the slides right in front of me, we can see the amount of money invested with regards to the world, with regards to America, with regards to Europe, Asia Pacific, and India. And the amount of money is accumulating on a yearly basis. Specifically with the fact that first we had a 500 rupees minimum investment in an SIP, then we have a 1000, and today most of our mutual funds are even offering a minimum investment of 100 rupees, which means everybody who is earning and cannot afford a normal stock, even if it's a Wipro 250 rupees, can invest in that 100 rupees capital market segment, which they would have been investing in an RD or an FD, or maybe in a post office savings of 10 rupees. So today we can see a paradigm shift towards capital markets. This is how the financial sector has grown as for the BFSI sector. And if you see the number of employees, we have tripled. It's been around 13.5 in the banking sector, financial services 7.7 lakhs, 3.6 lakhs in insurance, and we see estimated growth totaling 27 lakhs, which is divided into 4 lakhs in insurance, 8.8 in financial services, 14.1 in banking. If the number of employees increase, which means the number of job opportunities are increasing, and we need people to manage them, which means everybody is trying to build themselves to be the next manager, trying to earn more skills in a short period of time. And that is where a skill-based training comes into being. Because an average employee today, if you see this, the line of business, how it increases, we see an average analyst is looking for a 0 to 3 or 0 to 5 lakhs package. Within 2 or 3 years is what they want to achieve the target. As a manager, you would like to achieve your designation as a manager in 3 to 5 years, and I've seen that in my own career as well. Person with a 5 to 7 years experience looking for an associate, trying to look at different team managers, may even get to go into an individual contributor's role. You have a lot of product and functional heads, AVP, which earns around 50 to 25 lakhs, and that's a cap limit. It can go beyond 25 as well. You can see you're getting yourself a promotion in 7 to 8 years or so if you've done things right. And the VP delivery head gets around 25 to 40. If you're working for an international bank, say Barclays or Morgan Stanley, you could not be only delivering on maybe Indian markets, but maybe 4 or 5 locations out there. You may have Singapore, you may have Hong Kong, you may have Thailand, so Beijing. So you can have 3 or 4 locations under you. So that is a huge ask, and to manage such huge teams, which could be really lateral teams, visual teams, you may not be meeting them on a daily basis or physical face-to-face contact. To manage a team, to lead a complete business as a delivery head from India is a huge ask, and you need to have the skills and the knowledge and know-how of not only the Indian or domestic markets, but also the international markets. Let's look at diverse job roles in India. I did see a question saying, what is a BFSI sector? The BFSI sector is nothing but the banking and financial services and insurance sector. Okay, so the entire lot of the entire, all these services together, the banking, any kind of financial services, which is different from banking, by the way, could be NBFCs, could be mutual funds, and the insurance sector is a complete industry. So that's called the BFSI sector. A financial institution is different from a bank. In Kenya, that is subdivided. A bank is not only a person which allows borrowing and lending of money. That is a retail or commercial bank. A bank also gives different sector services like trade finance and investment banking or capital markets, and hence it becomes a financial institution. So PFSI includes financial services, the financial institution, your normal banks, and the insurance sector at large, which includes P2P today, peer-to-peer lending, which includes NBFCs today, which may be just HDFC, not the HDFC bank, but HDFC. Moving ahead, what kind of job roles can you look at if you do a course like PGCM, or what kind of job roles you can look at in Indian or international markets? Within markets, you can look at equity dealers, relationship managers, fund administrators who can manage a fund. What does a fund administrator do? They manage an entire mutual fund, NAV calculations, profit and loss allocation, CAGR calculation, XIR calculation, managing your clients. You have a lot of portfolio advisors who can manage a portfolio, and equity dealers. Huge requirement in the market today because our markets are extremely volatile. We're trying to expand where it's commodity markets, where it's foreign exchange markets, where it's equity markets. Okay. With the GMO operations, which is your global market operations, we have a lot of roles in the AML KYC sector. And you may think, oh my, that may be a little boring. Absolutely not. With the new regulations which are coming, which is the Dodd-Frank Act, or the EMIR, or the MiFID, we need a lot of people to understand how does compliance work. Compliance is different from KYC. So we need a lot of people in the compliance sector. We're looking at a lot of students who know how the Dodd-Frank Act works, because in operations, you need to actually work on those things. We're a part of G20 summit. India is a part of the G20 nation, and hence today these kind of regulations are not only pertaining to global markets, they are also implementing to Indian markets as well. We could look at re-KYC, also called as KYC remediation policies. Apart from this, we have settlements and corporate actions. Huge requirement in this because every trade booked on a NASDAQ or NYSE has to be settled. We have risk and control, which is core ops, middle office roles, and core operations roles, called as back office settlement roles. Equity and derivative operations, fixed income and currency operations. When it comes to funding, liquidity, cash management, money markets, we have treasury and product control, treasury analyst, liquidity management, clearing operations, middle office operations, and compliance analyst. Product control will be a little bit more towards risk and how maybe a employee can help a manager or a fund to manage their risk and benchmark the fund's performance as per the market. This is all about the job opportunities. At Imarticus, we are very proud to say that we have very good placement partners. And as a part of, as being an internal trainer and a huge success ratio in the placement field, I can say that we have the best partners in the business, where we Kotak Securities, HDFC, ICICI, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and the likes of the same. We also have Riches, Citco, Global, Royal Bank of Scotland. So it's across different businesses, whether it's going to be Indian businesses, where it's going to be mutual funds, where it's going to be a broker like Motilal, or where it be international hedge funds, which is or a BlackRock, or even a bank, Society General, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase. Let's talk a little on the program. The postgraduate program in capital markets is comprehensive 350+ program with placement assurance, which also means we are going to be having a huge rolling session on mocks. If we are going to give you placement assurance, we also have to ensure that you'll study well. It provides a lot of aspirants with intent exposure to global markets and Indian markets. And this course covers capital products both listed on OTC, which could be extensive knowledge on swaps and OTC derivative structured products, capital market operations, asset management, which is including mutual funds, hedge funds, and alternative investment schemes. Product control, which is nothing but benchmarking the value of your fund to the market, looking at the risk in the same fund, which I did explain before, and all about risk management, whether it's market risk, liquidity risk, credit risk. Operations modules comprehensively cover the trade life cycle, settlements, fund accounting, and administration with a lot of Excel and dashboarding, which is required for RPA, robotic process automations today. Curriculum and certification, extremely industry endorsed. We're taken from the industry itself. We have leading partners who are endorsing this program like Society Generale and Aditya Birla. To add on to it, apart from training, development, placement assurance, assignments, quizzes, employment assistance, we also ensure students do a lot of projects. Projects is really important. Your own research is really important. That's what makes you stronger. So we have a huge capstone project. The trainer will be with you during the course of the project, will ensure that you complete the project successfully. If you need assistance, you need career counseling, you need to know what you do in life. We do give one-on-one industry mentorship from people in the industry who you can sit back and ask a lot of questions about careers and he can answer you. So it's again a guidance, one-on-one guidance, a complete personal mentorship session. We do have digital learning partners. So if you need to really learn how a product works, we have simulation games and apps and basic terminals so that you can do live trade analysis. All set in one. This is a complete one-stop shop program. You also have a lot of alumni networking events. So that's a great thing as well. A little bit in detail about our industry endorsed curriculum. We have Society Generale. We have Aditya Birla Capital Markets. We have technology partners like PSC and Thomson Reuters. Okay, so it is going to be completely hands-on and practical, theoretical, practical, research work. And yes, a lot of assignments and tests, so we know where you stand because we need to place you. This industry endorsed curriculum helps you job readiness. If you do not know much about the market, we give you a primer so that you can prepare before your first classes. It teaches you all about capital market products, Indian and international. Teaches you about Indian market operations and global market operations in detail. Automation, dashboarding, capstone projects. Job readiness, extremely important. Semester 1 will be a complete introduction on products. You have a startup kit right now, which is all about financial accounting. So you need to know how a bank works. You need to know how accounting functions. What if you would like to get into a fund accounting role? So a fund accounting role is a comprehensive role in P&L calculations, NAV gathering, NAV calculations, reconciliations, settlements, benchmarking the performance of the fund, and asset allocation, or profit and loss allocation, unit allocation. In order to understand that, you need to also understand how to do accounting entries, very important to fund, so that you know how the cash balances and how the entries work. For that, our startup kit consists of financial accounting, which includes principles of accounting and specific financial items. Your financial analysis and reporting, which is ratio analysis, quantitative techniques, probability and hypothesis included. Economics, very important to understand demand, supply, inflation. You will need that in calculations of CAGR and XIRR. You need to understand how your entire business is functioning. You need to understand how your mutual fund is functioning. What if you invest around 100 rupees into a mutual fund, how will you get the return? How much is the return? In financial markets, which is in semester 1, we have a BSc case study. We are understanding price models, fundamental analysis, technical, long-term investments, fixed income, structured products, extremely important, swaps and derivatives, and a lot of money markets. Coming to asset management, we divide this into 3 parts: hedge funds, mutual funds, portfolio management. Mutual funds and hedge funds, it's all about ULIPs and ETFs. In hedge funds, we do cover a lot of hedge fund strategies and the role of prime brokers in the market. For example, if you are a hedge fund, let's say BlackRock, and you are a hedge fund, you may hire a prime broker like Citibank to do all your custodian banking services and settlements and valuation. Okay, so you will need a service of prime broker. In order to be working for a prime broker, you need to understand how a prime broker works. You need to understand fund accounting, technical, fundamental, and that is what we teach right here. You also handle a lot of asset management. You can choose, it's a very detailed curriculum, which means you can choose your line of career extremely well by going through the entire curriculum. It will also give an overview of the market. So in case you really think of switching job roles after some time, you have absolute knowledge of both the worlds. Very important is our capstone project, which will involve demonstrating an in-depth understanding of capital markets and products, research, and a lot of group and individual presentations on sectors, products, and the economy. Semester 2, domestic markets. This is endorsed by Director Birla Capital. It will teach you about equity trading and investments, fundamental, technical, futures and options trading, which is practical, and all the popular derivative strategies. Fund accounting and administration. You've already learned a lot about accounts in the first semester. We're going to be extremely detail oriented here to understand asset allocation, new fund offers, subscription, redemption, transfer, switches, expense management, and all the responsibilities coming into fund accounting. Obviously, we also need to do reportings. Hence, a lot of reporting and performance attribution to learn performance benchmarks, return of investment, and capstone projects again. Moving on to semester 3. This is all about global markets. So we've understood the basics, we've understood the industry landscape, we've understood our modules, we've understood Indian markets, and now let us go ahead and diversify into the international markets. Let's go more deeper. We have understood products in detail. Let us understand how global markets work. We need to understand ISDA, International Swaps and Derivative Association. This is a company or this is an organization which takes care of all OTC derivatives like swaps and structured products. We need to know its role. We need to know the hierarchy. We need to know the common agreements. What is master trade agreement? What's a master confirmation agreement? What is a schedule? What is an annexure? So we need to understand everything, because tomorrow when a client comes in the middle office operations and they make us go through this product, at that juncture we need to understand is that documentation extremely well to pinpoint the issues, pinpoint the clients, what problems do they have. So a lot of legal regulations out here. Very important, because without an ISDA confirmation, you really can't settle a deal. So you need to understand this, to understand confirmation, which are automated or manual, done through international ICSDs. What are ICSDs? Central Securities Depository. Something in India which we have as NSDL, CDSL, or a CCIL. So internationally, we have something called as DTCC and market wire, and they help in confirmations with the help of ISDA documentations. And you will learn this in detail. So you also have something like OTC and exotic confirmations and settlement. In detail, you will also learn about global market operations, and as I mentioned before, the entire securitization process, SPVs, special purpose vehicles, the role of depositories, full and partial calls, Brady pair-offs, what happens when a bond matures, YTM calculations, and global markets finance of product control, trader flash, P&L management, liquidity, and treasury management. A lot of activities, which is a lot of future simulations, trade life cycle simulations. So it's really practically endorsed. So when you go on the operations flow, you actually know the know-how of how operations work. So you have hands-on experience. In the shared services section, we're going to be extremely detailed with teaching you the trade life cycle of OTC markets, which is different from exchange traded markets. What is the meaning of trade booking? How trades are booked? What happens on trade confirmations on the BSE platform? What is the role of clearing banks, T+2 settlements, margin calculations, mark-to-market of derivatives, rollover deals? AML in detail, reference data management, which is all about setting up the entire client on the bank's platform. Huge corporate action trading and a lot of regulatory reporting, extremely important for capital markets. What if you get into a project? Because the world is changing into a lot of projects, a lot of automation. What if you get into a project? Hence, a lot of advanced Excel. You cannot really do an operations job without having a very good hands-on experience, a very good hold on Excel. So we teach you advanced Excel as well, Tableau, and the robotic processing automations case study. It is great to learn all these things in domain, but you have to deliver this in an interview. You deliver this on your job every day. What if you have a presentation on the floor? You have to speak to international clients, your front office and your middle office counterparts. You may get to go abroad and represent your company. And at this juncture, you need to have the right communication skills, the proper business etiquette, how to write an email, okay, from right from the time you dress, from the time you speak to your management, what to speak when and how. Resume building, that's the first thing. Your resume speaks a lot about you. It tells you exactly the kind of personality. So if I will have to associate a person, I will look at the resume and I do not know the person, I haven't seen the person, and looking at the resume, look at the neatness, the preciseness, I do understand the personality of this person, then we can set it up for a face-to-face interview and then maybe select them for a job. But the resume is what actually gives you that first opportunity, that first impression, which lingers till the last stage of your job placement process. A lot of soft skills, so this comes to around 20 hours. Interview preparation is very important. We do have a lot of activities if you see of the trade life cycle, role of regulators, case studies, money laundering and simulations, as I mentioned above. Okay, all in all, we give you mentorship, training, resume building, interview opportunities. We have access to our alumni portal as well, our placement portal, soft skills, and a lot of mock interviews which are taken extremely seriously at Imarticus. Being an internal trainer, I would vouch for that, and we are extremely serious about mock interviews because we are going to place you. The learning methodology is completely experimental, so you can learn on the go. And that's about it. So our methodology of learning is classroom, interactive, terminals, self-paced videos, a lot of videos. This is a huge thing. We have an app, which is an online portal app. And before you come for each class, you can definitely go ahead and prepare yourself. So if the classroom training hours is around 5 or 6 hours or so, we do have a lot of self-paced videos where you can always prepare yourself so that you're much more prepared for the training program. You can ask much more practical questions and deepen your knowledge. We have a lot of learning materials, a lot of online learning materials. When you have free time at home, you can go ahead and deepen your knowledge by yourself instead of only researching it. We also give you a lot of study material. Okay, definitely, obviously, it's a classroom session, and very proud to have a very smart digital classroom. Admissions, let's talk about that. The PGP in capital markets is ideal for students and professionals from both financial and non-financial markets. People who are engineers or students who are engineers and looking at huge careers in finance is extremely important. Good analytical skills are required for this. MBAs who would like to go ahead and get a deep dive into global markets or Indian markets in deep to get a job opportunity. Professionals who are willing to transition themselves after a few years of service and want to deepen themselves. So this kind of a program is really apt for all. Basic qualification would be obviously your academic certifications. We will take a pre-assessment online aptitude test, and definitely to enter this program, you will have to go through a person interview with us on communication, how motivated you are for the program, your expectations, what we expect out to you. We cannot let you in unless we have these 3 checks in place, which is mandatory for all the programs across Imarticus, specifically the in-person interview and pre-assessment aptitude test. How do we get your placement ready? Extremely important in the program. Resume building, as I mentioned before, interview prep, mock interviews, one-on-one and panel, interview opportunities, and access to our placement portal. So there's a transparency of opportunities flashed to all. Let's talk a little bit about Imarticus. By far, extremely successful. We have nearly 12,000 students trained and about 10,000 students placed. We have a success ratio of 77%, and per month, our numbers center-wise, say Mumbai as a center itself will place 25 odd students. So it's extremely successful. How do we ensure that we're able to have such good numbers of placements? Is because first step, we counsel you for the program. Second step, we're giving you good certification in the program. You get a company which selects you because we're giving you a lot of mocks. We're giving you multiple opportunities. You can choose that opportunity. You have a job preparation. We have interview preparation. Absolutely 100% committed. And as a trainer and a marketer, I can say we're absolutely 100% committed for placements. And next is the only thing which is the difference is we train you well. You have to really perform well on the job or in that interview. That's about it from me. I would like to give this room open for questions. Any questions welcome. If I'm not able to get back to you today, I can connect you with you on email, call, however it can be. We do ask a lot of questions. I really like questions, so please ask a lot of questions. Please keep in mind that we are a CSI-based institute, so we are endorsing partners also is from the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment. A lot of our education material is taken from a lot of our branding partners. Thank you so much. And I see there are 4 questions right here. Absolutely, Rajan. So Rajan Nanda has a question. He says, are freshers eligible to enter into investment banking? Absolutely. As a trainer who also trains a SIBOC program, I have a lot of students entering the investment banking zone. Freshers are absolutely eligible to enter investment banking, and you may ask how. You as a fresher, brand new to the market, we can mold you in any manner. You join the PGCM program, you are learning about the primer of investment banking. You're learning accounting, you're learning domestic markets practically, you're learning investment banking practically, you're understanding global markets operations and Indian market operations practically, you're understanding regulations, dashboarding, charting, which means you're very indispensable to the organization because they can really utilize you to the best of your ability. And given a lot of focus and attention to this program, absolutely eligible to enter and get through and have a very successful career. I've seen a lot of successful careers in the past 4 or 5 years of training in Imarticus. How about job opportunities for MCOM graduates is the question from 1+7 Pro. Very good. You are already a post-graduation. You have done your master's in commerce. I believe you come with a strong base of management and accounts, depending on what field have you chosen. You've chosen accounts, and yes, you can have a lot of deep down knowledge on accounts. You are now going ahead and learning additional information on fund accounting, which means you're deepening your horizon. Not only that, if you are an account student, you're also going ahead and venturing into global capital markets and Indian capital markets. So you're actually deepening your career pathway. I hope I've answered that question. Now, how about job opportunities? I think so. I've answered that. I have a person called Mohammed, and his question is, ma'am, do we have to face classes or digital classroom with video lectures? I will leave that discretion up to you, Mohammed, because I believe that if you are comfortable with online sessions, yes, you will go for online sessions. Are you comfortable with face-to-face sessions? I will leave it up to you. What is your learning choice, preference? But I believe blended learning is the best, which is video and classroom, which is provided by us. Okay, so I believe I answered that. If you have a question, please do type it again. What's the duration was close? It's around 350 hours, approximately 3+ months. So that would be around 3+ months. Another question comes to me is, with this program, can I get into a front-end role like equity research or advisory or investment analyst, or is a program only for controllership role? No. I believe that maybe you may not get into a completely front office role for the international markets, but if you see, and I ran you through the career perspective on the 2nd or 3rd slide, right here. So if you see, when it comes to a lot of Indian markets, you can get an equity dealer role, portfolio advisor role, fund accounting, relationship manager. You can enter into fund accounting even in the middle office, global market operations, and that will lead you towards the front office role. Front office, by the way, is not only trading. There are many departments in front office. Okay, so you can choose the department you want to join in front office. Indian markets, definitely you can get into front office roles, which is your dealer, portfolio advisor roles. International markets, you can enter into fund accounting and move towards a front office role. Let me go to the next question. Yes, you can also enter into an investment analyst or advisory role. That answers Galaxy Note 9. I have another question, which is by Vinay Kumar. I want to pursue my career in commodity market. How will this course help me in commodities? Because this course is teaching you about investment banking derivatives, and derivatives is a contract which has a lot of underlying assets. One of the underlying assets is commodities. So this will also help you to learn a lot about commodity markets, and hence you could go ahead and get chosen the commodity market career role through this program. What kind of opportunities for a CA? I believe a CA is extremely strong today in the financial market section. As a CA, if you have completed your CA, remember, you have a strong base on accounts, and I believe you have a lot of knowledge of derivatives today as well, because derivatives basics at least are included in CA courses today. using your skill sets on accounting entries, you are much more fitter for complex roles like portfolio advisory, maybe fund accounting, administration roles, where we need a lot of people, a lot of students who are extremely strong on accounts and can enter into a lot of administration roles, like fund accounting, controller roles, asset allocation roles, strong journal entries. So this is a very, very good. Today, in fact, investment banks are looking at a lot of CAs. So CA do have a lot of comprehensible, diverse roles for themselves. You're going to be having a very promising career, by the way. Mr. Sundar says, I'm a chartered accountant. I've cleared only in my 5th attempt. Do you think I have a chance at IB? What would be my scope? Absolutely. Even if you have the 8th and 9th and 10th attempt at CA and you really think you're not being successful at that, maybe you will in the near future. Yes, you do have a chance at IB. CA role is CA or chartered accountancy is not a very easy course. You have a huge scope in the investment banking domain, but you come with a huge background of accounts. Maybe you have not cleared the exam, but yes, you have a good accounting background. Even if you are not an accounting background, because you're learning everything at one go out here to this program, you can enter the investment and you will enter the investment banking zone. I have Radhakrishna, who says, I have 6 years of experience in retail banking industry. I went from the public sector unit bank, and I'm also looking for a career change into capital market industry. Will salary packages will be available according to your profile? Yes. The answer is yes. Since we have a lot of placement partners, as a placement assurance course, you could speak to one of our counselors and maybe the placement officer and try to figure out what organization or which role suits you best. I believe that if you have the right skill sets, knowledge, and know-how, you can be successful in investment bank and get a job role with the necessary salary packages. I do see that you have 6 years. We will need to speak to you in detail to understand more of the job requirements you have, how this course is going to really benefit you. So that could be a real face-to-face conversation, Radhakrishnan. I think so we could do that for you. If you could maybe contact one of the counselors, you could do that. But yes, I have seen a lot of success stories in IB with people who want to jump ship after 6 or 7 years. I have done that myself. But if you are really good at your job, you really know your curriculum very well. Your skills are good enough. Industries do accept you today. There's no hard and fast rule, no black and white actually. Any specific eligibility criteria for top investment banks like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs? Graduation. You need to be a graduate, or you need to be complete your engineering. They do give a lot of internship opportunities also today for undergrads, but eligibility criteria would be graduation. With the skill sets being correct, with the knowledge correct, any investment bank will take you in. I need an online class. Is it possible? I will leave this question to your counselor, so I will not answer this. I'll keep it as a pending question. I do not know your job. I do not know your location. I will really need to get back to you on a specific question of online classes. Okay. So Vivo Y51L. I think so. We'll come back to you on this one. Raja again has Raja Nanda comes back to the question saying, without CFA or FRM, will I be losing out on an investment banking jobs? Absolutely not. I am not a CFA and not an FRM, but I have an extremely successful career in investment banking. Definitely not. This course maybe will help you to achieve your CFA and FRM. This is actually a lot of education is taken in from your so your valuation and accounting. So you see a lot of this in CFA and FRM. You will not be losing out on investment banking jobs, at least on a starter's level, if you don't complete your CFA. CFA will take you 3 years. So you can take up a job at capital markets and then complete your CFA and move into the banking business. Obviously, PGCM is going to help you do that. Vivo says, I'm working. Is there any weekend class? I think so. There is a weekend class available. I will keep this question for specific answers. Maybe it could be mailed to you. Do keep in touch with our host, especially, or you have an email ID. If you just post it out here, you could post the question over here. I'm not going to be showing us this question answered. I'll keep it as an open question and get back to you because I think so there is a weekend class, which I believe there's a weekend class for this one. What is the average placement for MBA freshers? That is what Mr. Kunal Vasa says. Um, okay, if you've done your MBA without job experience, or you've done your MBA with job experience, or you do an MBA at the age of 28 or 35 or 50, if you have done your MBA extremely well, you'll land up in a fantastic job. Average placement numbers, I wouldn't really put a number to it. If you perform well, you get a job. So Mr. Soumya says, I have completed my MBA in finance. What is the opportunity in investment banking? Great opportunity. An MBA in finance teaches you accounts, teaches you derivatives, compliance, but it doesn't really teach you a lot. I don't think so. It teaches a lot of global market operations. And if you really need to understand global market operations in depth, you will need something additional which could be fulfilled to the PGCM markets. Okay, so the PGCM course will help you achieve this dream job. I believe that answers your question. If it doesn't, please come back to me. I do have an anonymous attendee saying that are there any chances of moving abroad? Oh, okay, wow. Are there any chances of moving abroad to a job in India, like US? Someone really loves US. Okay, so what kind of roles and companies help you with that? Now, this is a very non-specific question. I cannot really answer this straight to the point. Have I got opportunities to go abroad and train or abroad and work? Absolutely. Do I know students who get placed abroad? Yes. Do I have colleagues who are looking for job opportunities abroad by working in their operations? Absolutely. Remember, an HDFC bank also has abroad operations today. So maybe you could be the next lucky one. If your skills are right enough, you could be the one to represent us abroad. At the same time, if you are working for a JP Morgan Chase or something in India, if you need to onboard new processes from abroad and they feel that you have the app skill sets, they will be hiring you. Give me a minute. I just need to mute myself here. Yes, you do have opportunities to go abroad, but that's not a yes and a no direct question answer. You may not have. I've seen a lot of success stories with that manner. Give me a minute. Okay, so I have 5 more minutes and there are 5 open questions. One is an online class, is it possible? Second is any weekend class. Okay, I'll take 3 more questions. I think so I've answered your question whether you would like to get a job abroad. What are the fees for this course? I will keep this open again. You'll come back to you with this fees. It should be, I think it should be around 2 or something. I'll leave this question to be answered on email. And I've got Mohammed who says, ma'am, is this course PG and capital markets recognized globally? Can I work in other countries, Singapore, Dubai, etc. with a certification? It depends on how good you study in this course. Is Imarticus recognized globally? Absolutely, as an organization, we are recognized globally. You have the right skill sets. Can we get companies who would like to take you abroad after doing this course? I've seen a success of investment banking courses which I have conducted, and I've seen students getting opportunities abroad. There will be no short question and answer section for this one. You may or may not. Depends on how good your skill sets are. Okay, so that is it. Any other question which you'd like me to take? And then we can wrap up this question. I'll wait for a minute. You're welcome, Mohammed. Anytime, if you have some more questions, you could go ahead and drop me a mail or drop the host an email, and she or he will get back to me. So I don't mind connecting with you on that as well. We have Mr. Sundar who says, what is the most sought after or growing job roles in IB right now? Fund accounting, equity research, global market operations, middle office, risk. And that is why we have used these topics or are teaching these topics so comprehensively in this program. Thank you so much, Sundar. I think so we could wrap up this session. If you really need any help in career guidance or knowing about speech capital markets, would like to connect with me, absolutely welcome. Thank you so much for